The dress shirt is made in Bangladesh, the two-piece pinstripe suit, Indonesia, the silk tie and cufflinks, made in China. What brings this ensemble all together is the name on the label. They are all Donald J. Trump's signature brand.
What can you tell me about where these were made?
Well, Bangladesh, for example, has the lowest wages and the worst and most unsafe working conditions of any major apparel exporting country.
Scott Nova heads an independent labor rights group that conducts investigations of the garment industry, which he says is an industry on the hunt for ever cheaper labor. And shipping documents reviewed by CNN confirm Trump's signature brand is no different. Take this shirt. In 2014, it would have been sewn together in a factory in Honduras, where workers make an average $1.30 an hour. It wasn't cheap enough. That same year, the company Donald Trump hired to make his shirt in Honduras ended the Honduran contract. Our Donald Trump shirt, bought recently over the internet, was made in Bangladesh, where the average garment worker earns 30 cents an hour. What?
Good morning. How are you? Yo. It's come to my attention that Donald Trump is struggling in the polls, and I think we need to do something about it.
Yeah, I've actually got a plan for that. So Donald Trump's producing his clothing line right now in Bangladesh. He's paying workers $1.30. So I was thinking, since we want to get rid of the trade agreement, as well as bring production back to the U.S., I think he should bring his company back first to make a good example of himself, so that other companies will follow him.
Yeah, when we go in here and talk to him, it's really important that we make sure that he knows that we need to put the election first and not his company. If he may be arguing with us about it, but we got to make sure that we got to get him elected.
Good morning, Mr. Trump. We have a couple questions we'd like to ask you regarding your company.
All right.
So we just want to hear what your thoughts are on bringing your company production home instead of doing it overseas. We want to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. Are you guys referring specifically to my clothing company?
Yes, we are.
Well, with the cost of producing clothes overseas in places like Bangladesh, workers make an average of 30 cents an hour. So paying them allows me to make the goods for a lot cheaper and in turn sell them to American citizens for a lot cheaper, where they can get a good quality item without having to pay a large amount of money.
So that brings us to the real reason why we're actually here, and that's because obviously you're running for the President of the United States coming in November, and we think that moving your company back to the U.S. would be incredibly beneficial to your poll numbers, because you'd be creating jobs, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and give our reasons why.
No, I think that's a really good theory. I think that's about all it is, because in reality, bringing the company back to America would cause the price of my items to go up, and people would in turn just buy substitute items, and in the end, it wouldn't really have a positive impact on the economy, if any impact at all.
So you say the prices of your shirt will go up if you bring production back. We've estimated that your shirts sell for an average of $16, $17 here right now. If we brought your company back, it'd sell for about $100. And we think you'll still make good money, because the consumers will think of your brand as a name brand or a luxury good. So they'll still want to buy it, even if it's more expensive.
I think what you need to understand is the voters I'm trying to appeal to right now are the middle class workers. And middle class working people aren't going to pay $100 for a shirt. They pay $16 for a shirt, and by charging them more, if they already have a job, why would they want to vote for me more when I'm now making stuff for them cost more money?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Mr. Trump, but it actually brings us to the concept of income elasticity. And so by moving your company into the US, that would actually create more jobs for the working class people, which you just mentioned. And when those working class people now have a job, they'll be which means they're more likely to now buy luxury goods, which is your clothing line.
You don't have to explain to me why jobs in America are good. I already believe the American people are the greatest people on earth. But what I can say is, if I bring the company back to America and people don't buy the shirts because of the raised price, and we've now invested more money in the cost of making each shirt, and eventually over time the company will go out of business, and now all these people have lost jobs, that ends up being worse for the economy. So how can we avoid that?
Unfortunately, Mr. Trump, the income elasticity theory disproves your point.
Wrong.
Actually, Mr. Trump, you're wrong. You said that the company will go out of business. That's a lie.
Wrong.
In the long run, your product will become more elastic.
My product's not
preferences
elastic.
will change.
It's cotton.
Consumer preferences will change, and you will be president.
I don't know how many $6 billion companies you own. I own one. I haven't gotten to this point by making dumb decisions like the one you're suggesting. I don't know if you know of this thing called opportunity cost. To tell you about opportunity cost is my daughter Ivanka. Wait, aren't you supposed to be saying it?
I don't know what opportunity cost is.
For me, the opportunity cost of bringing my clothing company back to the States is things such as rebuilding factories in America, the cost of closing down the ones that are currently over there, hiring workers, going through that process, paying them more money. That's all part of an opportunity cost that is being paid directly by my company.
We see your point and we think you're right, but in the long run, I think it'll be more beneficial if you're patient and stick through it.
I don't know if you guys are in this country legally, but maybe I agree with you on this one. What I learned from the presentation is that although it might not be good for me in the short run, as a future presidential candidate, I need to think about my poll numbers, and ultimately, economically in the long run for my company, it will most likely have a positive impact.